Hey everyone, Jennifer Sherman here, early childhood specialist. Today's topic is elementary age children, getting them to make their own breakfast. So sometimes as parents, most parents, all of us probably listening to this, do all kinds of things for our kids. And one of those things is waking them up in the morning and making them a nice breakfast before they go off to school, or pouring them cereal, whatever it is. I want to talk to you today about the right age or more appropriate age that you can expect your children to be more self-sufficient and doing things in the kitchen on their own. I tend to think that the age of 5 or when kids are in kindergarten is a great age for you to expect that they can handle things on their own. Now, do you have to supervise when they're using the oven and the stove? Absolutely, okay? So I tell my kindergartner, well, when he was in kindergarten, I said, you can always use the stove if your father and I are home. I'd say don't touch it if an adult is not home and knows that you're doing that. So setting up different boundaries for your kids is very important, but also allowing them to understand that they can make their own choices, their own food choices. Again, you're actually making the choices by purchasing the food, but they think that they're choosing and making their own choice based off what you've provided from the grocery store. So when COVID started, I looked at all 3 of my kids and I said, you are all making your own breakfast when you wake up in the morning. I have to work from home. Thankfully, my husband got to go to his office so that we weren't all crowded in one small area. But I said, you're all making your own breakfast. So I'm going to stand and supervise. My older 2 knew how to make simple things, and they knew how to make eggs too. So I wanted to teach my kindergartner. He was in pre-K at the time. And I said, okay, you want eggs? You're going to start the stove. I made him put the pan out. I watched him, I stood back, and I verbally gave him the cues to cook for himself. And I stood there, helped him if he needed it, but more supervising, and again, explaining that you never use the stove unless an adult is home to help you if you really need it. But I think what surprises parents is when you realize that your kid at a very young age is capable of doing so much more than we give them credit for. And it's important that we allow them to have that individuality. We want them to be creative in the kitchen. I've talked about food a lot, especially when it comes to elementary age kids. We want them to be creative in the kitchen. We want them to be self-sufficient. As moms, as working moms, and dads too, so I know I say moms a lot because I'm relating to my story. As working parents, we have a lot on our plates. We're working full-time, and not only that, we're being a parent full-time. During any break that I have, I'm making phone calls for doctor's appointments, checking with insurance companies, figuring out how to take my car to the shop during work hours. You're juggling 1,000,001 things. I get it. So if there's one less thing for you to have to juggle, allow that to be something that's going to help your child be more beneficial in the long run. Do we want them to go off to college and knowing how to fry some eggs and make some chicken and cook basic things for themselves? Yeah, why not? What a great skill to have. What great confidence that can build for them. So it starts at home, and I think you can start young. Some people I know start really young. Some kids have an environment where they have to provide for themselves for a while because parents are working 2 or 3 jobs and not around. So I do think, though, teaching them how to cook and expecting them to do it. So some mornings, the rule in our house, post-COVID, now that they're back at school, the rule in our house is you're supposed to come upstairs. They sleep downstairs. You're supposed to come upstairs to the kitchen, fully dressed and ready to go for school. This does not happen with all 3 of my kids. There's one in particular. She likes to take her sweet time in the morning and tends to come up wearing her pajamas, laying on the couch, playing with the dog, and then she'll look and she'll go, I'll say, okay, you better brush your teeth because you guys need to walk to school soon. And she's like, I haven't eaten yet. That's your fault. And there have been a few times where I let her just try to figure it out because she knows I'm not going to be that crutch that does it for her. And she'll figure it out. And there have been a couple times where she's gone to school without putting anything in her belly, and I've asked her about it in the afternoon, said, how's that feel to go to school when you're hungry? Now, don't, before you get all mad and stuff, the school that my kids go to provides lots of snacks, and they also provide a very healthy, very well balanced, healthy lunch. So it's not like she's gonna starve. But even for some people, sometimes learning the hard way is pretty important. So keeping your expectations high, allowing your child to have the opportunity to learn how to make the things that they like. How do you make the turkey bacon that they like, or the bacon? How do you fry some eggs in a safe way? How do you make the oatmeal? What are you looking for? What are your measurements? There are several different things that you can show them and teach them and expect from them. And then even the night before bed, let's say your mornings are hectic, like a lot of us working parents have hectic mornings. If your mornings are really hectic, you can always talk about the night before. Hey, listen, when you wake up in the morning, what is it that you want to eat for breakfast? Let's think about it. Sometimes my kids will go to bed at night and they're like, I'm so hungry, you know, because they're trying to stay up a little later, even though they just ate. Well, sometimes I'll go, listen, you know, it's too bad, too late, time for bed. But I know in the morning you're going to wake up hungry. Have you thought about what you want to make yourself for breakfast? Do you want to make a breakfast burrito? Do you want to make toast with butter on it or jelly? What are you feeling like for tomorrow? And then it kind of gets their mind off that moment of them being upset. And then in the morning, they already woke up knowing exactly what they wanted to make. So it helps keep the morning flowing. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Please leave a message down below. Email me, private message me with any questions that you have that you want me to specifically address. We'll be constantly moving up in ages. So right now it's the elementary age. We'll be moving on to adolescence before too long, and then young adults and motherhood and so on. So if you have any questions, comments, anything, message me down below. I love to read them and get your private messages. So keep them coming, and good luck to everybody.